Awesome. I think we are a go. I think we're live. Yes, we are. Nice. Welcome to the stream. So today I am going to be answering some questions that were posted in the Giraffe Tower community. So within the Gary Club, we have the Giraffe Tower NFT project, the NFT project for creators. If you hold a giraffe, you are getting yourself into a membership of creators and entrepreneurs who are meeting daily for coffee and just basically giving each other a lift, helping each other out, figure things out, sharing knowledge. Think of it like a mastermind. It's not that I've ever been to a mastermind, but I imagine is what a mastermind would be. And from what I've heard, masterminds can cost tens and tens of thousands of dollars or pounds. So yeah, for the sake of buying an NFT at this point, which is probably about $250 to $300, maybe $500, depending on which one you want to purchase. At the floor is very cheap. You could be part of a large community of creators that are excelling in the fields that they have their expertise in. And many of us have also launched creator coins as well in our creator economies, backed by the Gary coin as well. So yeah, I'm going to look at answering these questions that we had from, let me just actually get rid of this, I'm going to copy and cut that out. So we had from Isna, we had some questions to the council, and there was some questions from Dragon as well, which I'll probably look to tackle also. But yeah, let's see what Isna's questions were. So yeah, so she wrote here in our Discord server, and I'll put a link into the comments of the stream and in the description post stream. But she would like to run. I'd love it if you run one. Oh yeah, that's her just saying about me doing drop-in sessions, which I'm trying to do. I'm currently over at the clubhouse, the Giraffe Tower. Also have a gated house on there as well. So if anyone does show up in there, we may hear them answer the questions as well. But yeah, so I have some questions for our candidates, which I'd love to hear in Twitter Spaces. There are a few to get the juices flowing. So where do you see Giraffe Tower NFTs 2 years from now, and how does your business or project align with it at all? So yeah, so I like to be kind of this, like, I'm bullish. I mean, you may think we'll completely have 100% ownership, unique ownership, things like that. I imagine we'll have still quite a few people that are going to own more than 2, 5. There's different levels of utility. But I would say, given the current pace that we're currently at and how things have been going, I think we'll probably get about 3 times the amount that we have. We've got shy of 800 holders at the moment. 8% of that is unique holders. I don't know if that equates to the same thing. Probably does. I haven't done the math on that one. But I would think, within the next 2 years, we would have at least 2,300 people, owners, individual wallets, at least having, a number, going to a number of hot seats. The people come to hot seat coaching with the different founders, the coin founders that we have, them coming to the coffee. I foresee the coffee being something that is throughout the day. At the moment, we have the morning, afternoon coffee, which is great, running on US time. But as more people come in, and I'm really, really, really hoping, and personally going to try and myself be getting people who are more international to come along and be part of this. We are a global community already. Many people in the Netherlands, people who are already part of the community, passing on the giraffe to their friends, and we've got a few people in the UK as well. My own personal network has been non-existent in the last 2 years, but as I'm building up my in real life social meetups that I'm running on meetup.com, I am going to be gifting people my token, and having Offspring is my first entry level to, like, okay, well, let's give some people an Offspring, see how they do. What I've learned so far is that a lot of people tend to sell the giraffes when we just give them to them without them really necessarily coming and seeing that they are intrigued in the community. So I feel like a slightly different tactic has to be used there, but that's where I'm kind of going. But yeah, throughout the day, coffee drop-ins, maybe we even get to 24 hours a day. That'd be a great mission to get to, and more connectors, just collaborating on a daily basis within our space, within our, whether it's our Twitter spaces that we host, or it's in our Discord, or wherever it might be, wherever Giraffe are. More collaboration, more activity happening, and that happening with the people that we don't necessarily hear the voices of that much. So second question from Isna, how much time do you spend daily in your own community if you are a creator? Well, I go into my community on Discord every day and obviously do the morning hellos. I am posting notifications on a daily basis. In terms of town halls, don't do many of them at this point in time, with like about 4 active people. It kind of spiked up for a little while, kind of dipped down a little bit now. So in terms of actual activity, it energy wise and input wise, for me to host a town hall on a weekly basis wouldn't make a lot of sense. It would be better for me to do things in the public, as I am now with the stream, and go back to doing Ask Me Anything sessions as well. So in terms of my community, I mean, I would say at least an hour a day if you added all the things up together. We're going to be there for about an hour a day, you know, messaging, replying to things, talking to people, but there's not a lot of activity for me to respond to. So perhaps me doing some streams and doing some videos and stuff like that, the more content I put out, you know, I can put it into the server. People can watch that however they want to, and we kind of go from there. Currently at the moment, I am running a study group for unit masters. So that is great. And I've been encouraging my community to join that. Not seeing them taking part, a couple of people, I mean, but not everyone in the community taking part. So yeah, we just focus on that. So that's at least 2 hours a week as well. So that was, you know, building that up and hoping and getting people over to Social Connector who part of the cohort and getting them into my server, and then bringing them into the ecosystem, and then bringing them into Giraffe Tower. But going back to the first question, which I forgot, which what, you know, because there was a second part to that. So it's like, where do you see Giraffe Tower 2 years from now, and how does your business align with that at all? So for me, how would my business align? Well, I want to educate people on Web3. That's what I'm currently interested in. That's what I'm feeling passionate about. I'm wanting to understand. A good way for me learning is to teach and guide people. And in that, people are going to have expertise. People are going to be focusing on different areas of Web3. There's blockchain technology. Everything is built on top of it. It's vast, you know, and it's growing, and new things come up and new technologies happen. So as you, the community in Fuzzy Club, are learning things, as you start to excel in things and want to teach people and, you know, have your own audience, I'm feeling that my community will be somewhere where people who are Web3 educators come from and come to learn together. So much like Gary Club is for the creators, we were Web3 educators coming together, learning things, and then expanding that out. So with that, I'm always going to be talking about Gary Club. I'm always going to be talking about Giraffe Tower. I'm going to be gifting out offsprings. I'm going to be saying to people, come to coffee, come where I come, to my fellow creators, and more content creators in Web3 will come out of that. So they are creators in that field, and maybe we'll get some nested tokens under Fuzzy Coin, which would be absolutely amazing. So that's where I see myself, and that's where I see the business going. So the third question, how do we develop internal engagement and giraffe follow giraffe awareness? Internal engagement. Wow, that is a great question. I mean, we've had a lot of engagement. So our community does a lot of time on Clubhouse. There are people all around there. I've hosted different rooms. I've done pop-up social rooms people have come to, and you know, just these opportunities, wherever these opportunities are on any platform where Giraffe can just be and communicate with each other. People don't necessarily come to the Discord. Some people like to be on Twitter Spaces. Some people like to be on Facebook. Some people like to be all sorts of places. And that's why Social Connector is connecting those different platforms, because audiences and content creators are in different places. So engagement is a difficult thing in you building any kind of community initiative or project or anything. I mean, I've been involved in voluntary organizations. I've been involved in different stuff. My partners try to do a community garden. Sometimes it falls down to the person who's started the initiative, and it's unfortunate. I honestly, this is not going to be the best answer, to be honest with you, and I'm just going to be real. I honestly, if someone's not passionate, like I'm passionate about things, if it's just not there, it's not there. I mean, you know, the more we grow, the more we expand, the more unique holders we have, the more people who, the 1 in 5 or whatever it might be who have that kind of spark are going to be there. But you'll never 100% have everyone. And that's just a reality that I have come to learn. Unless there's some technique that I'm missing in, holding space and giving people a voice and trying to facilitate things, then other than that, I have no idea. I'm just going to be real on that one, to be honest with you. So yeah, where are we going with next one? So what do you want the Giraffe Tower secondary market to look like, and how can that happen? How do I want that? What do you want to look like? Well, the secondary market, I mean, people are going to be coming in and out all the time. So on a daily basis, we're going to probably see some sales going in and out. Now, I do strongly, and I have believed this for a long time, and this is even before Gary was starting to vocalize this, is that at this point in our history, where we are right now, a half a year in, at least half an ETH is where I believe we should be. I really genuinely believe that whenever I've listed something, I've never listed it below that, really trying to get a quick sell. Like, I rather wait and sell something for what I really believe this thing is worth, not necessarily like because, well, yeah, I mean, obviously I want to sell something and make money out of it, but like, I just don't see the point in trashing the floor. It just makes no sense. So given the connections, the people that are in our community, the creators that we have, the things that I've learned, and yes, I got in early, and I'm so blessed for that it has cost me far less money, but I think at least half an ETH at this point. And in terms of like where we go, it's hard for me to think in these big ETH numbers. I mean, an ETH to me is a lot. So like, the minimum an ETH and a half would be probably mid next year, and then who knows where we're going? Who really knows? I mean, in a speculative bull market where everyone's just bloody selling everything and buying everything, we could be tens of ETH. But yeah, I think that like an ETH strong at the floor at least. Special traits, you're looking at up to 5 ETH, depending on what the traits are. We've got some rare traits that some people leaned into, some people didn't, and it's going to be interesting how the future of those go. And also having people that realize, and hopefully this will come from the fuzzy community and people learning about Web3 and really wanting to dive into things like DAOs. We'll have people in communities of people who want to collect items together and really champion a trait and have those traits be, as high of a value as they perceive them. So we'll see how that goes, but that's where I think we're going to go. What is the hardest thing you have done as a Giraffe Tower member? The hardest thing as a member? I mean, I'm not really particularly sure if anything's been that drastically hard. I mean, like getting a voice, getting used to talking on social audio. I mean, that was a challenge. I mean, do you want to say that was hard? I mean, like speaking in front of people, don't necessarily have something to say. I will say something if I feel impulsed to say something. If I'm like passionate enough to, like, I have an opinion, I have to say this. Does it need to be said by me? That's one thing. Does this need to be said by me now? If it does, then yes, let's go. So, getting out there and pushing yourself to do that, maybe that was hard, maybe it wasn't. I mean, I'm kind of playing it down a little bit. Other than that, I mean, just taking this kind of leap of faith, going down this journey. I've never gone down an entrepreneurial journey before in my life. I literally have been working class background. The last couple of years, not particularly financially stable. A little bit, yeah. I just trying to pick myself back up really and see what's going on and just be in. I see the way the future's going. I don't want some of the stuff that governments are offering us, and that's why Web3 and crypto has been a passion of mine for the last 2 years. So, all of that, I guess you could say, has been hard. I mean, it's not difficult. It's a learning curve. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's an interesting word, hard. Yeah, dancing around that a little bit, so I apologize. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. Maybe I have to think about that a lot more. Owning a Giraffe Tower NFT gets you into Gary Club. Do you think getting access to exclusive events by owning Pacific Giraffe Tower NFT traits will have an impact on the floor and the Giraffe Tower as a whole? Well, yeah, I mean, let's say, like, if we had DAOs who were forming that were collecting specific traits, well, those DAOs would be looking at yeah, basically those DAOs would be looking at buying those particular traits. And then, if you're a DAO or a collective of people that own these traits, I mean, you can do any event you want. As Gary said to us many times, like, the utility can be offered by anyone. I will offer XYZ utility within my community if you hold a giraffe. Well, at the moment, everyone's a giraffe. There is no one that isn't. So, like, everyone gets a utility if I choose to. And then as I expand, get more of an audience. If you want to get to certain parties, go to certain things, come to certain webinars, events, you need to own an NFT. Maybe you need to own a particular NFT. I can use a platform that's called HODL, HODL01, and that can gate based on NFTs, and it's like a Zoom for Web3. Obviously, we've got OVO and we've got Social Connect. You can do that as well. Social Connector eventually will have the trait aspects to it. So yeah, that demand, depending on what the different sub communities or sub DAOs or however we want to refer them, and they refer to themselves, depending on what direction they take as creators. Maybe everyone who has a VR headset, they all go into the VR creation. They're all making metaverse worlds and they're doing stuff really in the VR virtual reality stuff. Then to get into the events, you're going to want that. And if you are that kind of person and you're really into that, you want a headset. You want a VR headset for that. If you're someone who's using your voice and you're doing a podcast or maybe a public speaker or something else, the headsets with the microphone, that was the kind of thing that we were talking about last year when these traits started to get picked up, when Gary was talking about them. Giraffe Tower as a whole at this point, still collectively, from what I'm feeling, this is just my own personal thought through my own lens, is that we as a community haven't, and myself included, I speak about myself, we haven't really clicked onto how we use IP, lean into these particular traits and make something more out of them. But we definitely will see that happen as that grows, and the utility provided by the group of people, or just to be part of that club. Like I want to get closer to someone in my field. That's the trait that my field within the creator community has. That's what will bind us together. That's something that we wear to show that we are in this particular field of the creator economy. That is 100% going to just make the floor of a particular trait rise. There's no doubt in my mind about that at all. And then in regards to the Giraffe Tower as a whole, I mean, the more that happens, the more buzz, and people kind of see like, oh, these people do these amazing things and they have that particular trait or that giraffe. If they couldn't get into that trait, then they're still going to want proximity. By proximity of having a giraffe and being Gary Club and coming and being a giraffe and being a creator in this ecosystem, they're still going to want one. And the having the offspring is a really good entry point for people. And I really want to just find more people to give my offspring to. And that's my biggest mission. So I'm actually prepared to swap some adults to get more offspring from people. And that's it, really. I'd rather just do that and get more people in than to hoard my adults. And yeah, and that's it, really. So yeah, that's pretty much it, really. That's my answer to that. 18 minutes long. I hope you got to the end, and have a lovely day. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.